Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, the US announces additional $6 billion long-term military aid package for Ukraine under Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative. All right, let's get to the other headlines. Also, we're tracking this. Our U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken accuses China of helping fuel Russia's threat to Ukraine, says Washington will act if China does not stop to act. Flooding and heavy rains create havoc in Kenya. At least 70 killed. More rains forecast across the country in the coming days as monsoon batters East Africa. India's northeastern states lead in poll percentage in the second phase of parliamentary elections that ended on Friday. Campaigning for the third phase gains momentum. All right, let's get you updates on Russia-Ukraine conflict first. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has announced new weapon purchases for Ukraine worth $6 billion on Friday. He said that this is the largest assistance package from the U.S. till date. Also, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Kyiv urgently needs Patriot missiles in the face of growing Russian air threats on Friday. He added that Patriots can and should save lives right now. It is the second package from Washington this week, following the $1 billion in more immediate aid announced on Wednesday. The announcement comes days after President Biden signed a long-awaited aid package containing $61 billion in military support for Ukraine. We're heading for a short break. Stay with us.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Hype versus facts. In-depth news and analysis with experts who will help you decide why this election matters. DD India is the main election headquarters with numbers most accurate, data most reliable, and viewership across the platforms. Stay tuned to the Great Indian Election only on weekdays at 8:30 p.m. IST and 1500 hours GMT.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg called on other allies to follow Germany's example and to increase their aid to Ukraine during a visit to Germany on Friday.
Germany is the biggest European contributor of military aid to Ukraine. You just decided to send a third Patriot system to Ukraine. And I strongly believe that other allies should follow the example of Germany.
The Ukrainian capital Kyiv evacuated 2 civilian hospitals on Friday after the warning of Belarusian KGB security service. The head of the Belarusian security service said they were housing soldiers, sparking fears of an airstrike. Kyiv city authorities said they were moving patients and staff from both hospitals to other medical facilities. The Kyiv city administration and a video widely circulated online which contained a threat to attack the two facilities, including a children's hospital. Australia's Defence Minister Richard Marles, during his visit to Poland, said on Friday that his country is committed to support Ukraine and has also become much more illuminated about what is occurring in Europe. Richard Marles said the relationship with Poland is put into sharp relief and both the countries have started talks on trade.
In its conflict with Russia. But we have also become much more illuminated about what is occurring in Europe. And in that sense, the relationship with Poland is put into sharp relief, and we see that there is enormous opportunity for our two countries to work together.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken raised concerns on Friday about China's support for Russia's military, one of the many issues threatening to sour the recent improvement in relations between the world's biggest economies. Blinken raised the matter during 5.5 hours of talks with China's top diplomat Wang Yi in Beijing, the latest high-level contact between the countries that have eased last year's acrimony. The visit produced little progress on contentious issues, including the U.S. complaints about cheap Chinese exports and tensions over Taiwan and the South China Sea.
I reiterated our serious concern about the PRC providing components that are powering Russia's brutal war of aggression against Ukraine. China is the top supplier of machine tools, microelectronics, nitrocellulose, which is critical to making munitions and rocket propellants, and other dual-use items that Moscow is using to ramp up its defense industrial base. A defense industrial base that is churning out rockets, drones, tanks, and other weapons that President Putin is using to invade a sovereign country, to demolish its power grid and other civilian infrastructure, to kill innocent children, women, and men.
On his visit to China, Blinken also clarified that U.S. export controls on sending advanced computing chips to China are not meant to hold back China's economy or technological development. Since 2022, U.S. officials have imposed sweeping controls on which computing chips can be exported to China. But U.S. officials have granted at least two U.S. companies, Intel and Qualcomm, licenses to keep shipping chips to Huawei, which is using an Intel chip to power a new laptop model. China has urged the U.S. to stop hyping up the false narrative of China's overcapacity and asked for it to lift what it called illegal sanctions on Chinese companies. The statement came after the meeting between U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi on Friday. Chinese President Xi Jinping also reiterated Beijing's concerns that Washington was suppressing its economic development in his meeting with Blinken.
美方应该将不寻求遏制中国经济发展，不寻求同中国脱钩，无意阻止中国科技进步的表态落到实处，停止炒作中国产能过剩论的虚假叙事，撤销对中国企业的非法制裁，停止加征违反世贸组织。美方应该将不寻求遏制中国经济发展，不寻求同中国脱钩，无意阻止中国科技进步的表态落到实处。 停止炒作中国产能过剩论的虚假叙事，撤销对中国企业的非法制裁，停止加征违反世贸组织规则的301关税。
France and Germany agreed on Friday to move to the next phase of a project to jointly develop a battle tank by 2040. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius said that there is still a long way to go to realize Germany's joint military tank project with France, but hailed a memorandum of understanding as an important milestone during a visit to Paris. Speaking alongside his French counterpart, Sébastien Lecornu, Pistorius said contracts with industry are expected to be finalized for the main ground combat system project by the end of the year, after which he is confident the German parliament would pass the scheme. The project, the second major arms industry project between the two countries, alongside their ambitions to build a next-generation fighter jet known as FCAS, is supposed to replace Germany's legacy Leopard and France's Leclerc systems. In Kenya, flooding and heavy rains have killed at least 70 people since mid-March. Kenya and other countries in East Africa, a region highly vulnerable to climate change, have been lashed by severe downpour in the recent weeks. More than 1 lakh people have been displaced by floods. At least 64 public schools in the capital were flooded and had to shut down. Roads and bridges have been damaged. Kenyans have been warned to stay on alert with more heavy rains forecast during the country in fact across the country in the coming days as monsoon batters East Africa. Other East African countries have reported flooding, with 155 people reported to have died in neighboring Tanzania and more than 200,000 people affected in Burundi. A Chilean man accomplished an impressive feat by purchasing a brand new television solely with coins gathered from beaches and parks across Chile. Luis Alvarez, an enthusiast of metal detecting, shared that it took him a week of dedicated effort to amass the necessary coins for his purchase. Through practice and familiarity with the machine sounds, he successfully gathered between $210 to $263 worth of coins within that time frame. Let's take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across the globe now. Thousands rally in Budapest to demand child protection reforms. The demonstrators gathered outside Hungary's Interior Ministry in Budapest and called for its head, Sándor Pinter, to step down over what they see as his failure to prevent the sexual abuse of children in state-run institutions. Major Haiti tourist spots from the Citadel, Le Frey to Labadie beaches have been plunged into desolation after a wave of violence hit the Caribbean country. Perched atop the Bonnet Alevi mountain, the fortress of La Ferre in the north of the country, local tourists walk amid century-old cannonballs. In Brazil, a devastating fire engulfed a guest house in Porto Alegre, claiming the lives of at least 10 people and leaving 11 others injured on Friday. Authorities have yet to determine the cause of the blaze. It has been revealed that the guest house was operating without a proper license and lacked a fire safety plan, as disclosed by the fire department. You're watching DD India Live. We are heading for a short break. But after the break, campaigning picks up pace for phase 3 of India's general elections. Leaders of major political parties to hold rallies. Punjab Kings set a new world record for the highest run chase in the history of T20 cricket. With 3 months to go, Paris receives the Olympic flame for 2024 Games.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live and I'm Preeti. Let's get to the latest on the world's largest democratic election in India. The poll fever goes high in India as voting for the second phase of general elections in the country was held on Friday. Among the 13 states and union territories, the northeastern state of Tripura recorded the highest voter turnout on Friday. Manipur recorded the second highest turnout at 77.3%. Campaigning for the third phase of Lok Sabha elections also gains momentum. Political parties are gearing up to woo the voters. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Maharashtra and Goa today in order to garner support in the party's favour. Prime Minister will be holding rallies in Kolhapur and South Goa. Senior Bharatiya Janata Party leader and Union Minister Amit Shah will visit Gujarat, where he will be holding rallies in Porbandar, Bharuch, Panchmahal and Vadodara. With the election campaign at its peak, political leaders are holding road shows and rallies across the country. Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge will visit Assam, where he will be holding rally in Guwahati. Later in the day, he will hold a press conference in Assam's Barpeta. To garner support in the favour of the party, Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi will hold a rally in Maharashtra's Latur district. And up next, we take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across India. Heat wave continues to affect normal life in India's Odisha. Weather officials issue red alert for Gangetic, West Bengal and Odisha. The Met Department has also forecast heat wave to severe heat wave conditions over east and south peninsular India during the next 5 days. 95 children who were allegedly being transported from India's Bihar to Uttar Pradesh illegally were rescued by Uttar Pradesh Child Commission. The authorities instructed the state children panel to rescue the children. The children were given food and medical care, and the people who brought them had no consent letters from parents. 3-day art festival begins in India's Shimla city. The Himachal Art Festival began on Friday at Bantani Castle, which saw the participation of well-known artists. In fact, 32 of them from across the country, including Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, Delhi, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, and other states as well. The 7th session of the Working Group on Priority Investment Projects was held in Moscow on Friday. The IRIGC Tech Mechanism Secretary, DPIIT, held a meeting with Russian officials of the Ministry of Industry and Trade of the Russian Federation. Both the sides discussed issues of bilateral economic cooperation, several ongoing and prospective projects for investment. Let's get to updates from the world of sports now. In the IPL, Punjab Kings set a new world record for the highest run chase in the history of T20 cricket as they overhauled the 262-run target set by Kolkata Knight Riders in East Indian city of Kolkata. Sent into bat, Kolkata Knight Riders scored 261 for 6, but Punjab Kings completed the chase with 8 balls to spare. Punjab bettered South Africa's 259 for 4 against West Indies in March last year. In the IPL, Rajasthan Royals held the previous record for chasing down 224 against Kolkata at Eden Gardens recently, equaling the record they had set against the then Kings 11 Punjab in 2020 in Sharjah. And Paris 2024 Olympic organizers on Friday received the Games flame in a handover ceremony in Athens ahead of a 68-day torch relay that will end with the opening ceremony on July 26th. The flame arrived at Central Athens Pan-Athenic Stadium, the site of the first modern Olympics in 1896, after an 11-day relay across Greece and following the lighting in ancient Olympia last week. Several thousand fans and tourists sat in the stands of the horseshoe-shaped marble stadium on a sun-drenched afternoon as the head of the Paris Games, Tony Estanguet, received the torch from Greek Olympic Committee President Spyros Kapralos. He carried it out of the stadium and the flame will be kept in a lantern overnight at the French embassy in the Greek capital. The flame will leave on Saturday on board the three-masted ship, the Bellum, for the French port of Marseille, where it will arrive on May 8th. And Paris will face major disruption ahead of the Olympics opening ceremony, a long scene on July 26th as organizers ramp up security measures to safeguard the event. Organizers hope the opening ceremony, in which 160 boats carrying athletes from around the world will travel a 6-kilometer route along the Seine River towards the Eiffel Tower, will deliver a jaw-dropping spectacle. Some 300,000 spectators will watch from the bank of the Seine as a global audience.
We have at all the sites an anti-terrorist protection perimeter, that is to say a perimeter in which to enter you are subject to a certain number of controls. We wanted to extend this perimeter, that is to say that it does not strictly follow the perimeters of the organizers of the game. We decided instead to include all the buildings bordering the Seine. The entire first row of the buildings which are on the banks of Seine are included in the security perimeter.
Indian archers Jyoti Surekha Vinam and Abhishek Verma have advanced into the compound mixed team final of Archery World Cup in Shanghai on Friday. World number 2 pair just lost 5 points to overcome their Mexican opponents, Andrea Becerra and Lot Maximo Mendes Ortiz. And that was in the semi-final. The Indian duo will take on Estonian pair in the summit clash on Saturday. Jyoti is also a member of the women's compound team, which had reached the final. Jyoti has also secured a semi-final spot in the individual section. The world number 3 and Asian Games gold medalist is in the contention for a hat-trick of the top podium finishes. Overall, Indian archers have qualified in 4 finals. The 4 events where Indian teams have made the gold medal round are compound men's, women's, mixed categories and men's recurve. The Under Fire World Anti-Doping Agency WADA will launch an independent probe over its handling of a case that allowed 23 Chinese swimmers who tested positive for a banned substance but escaped the punishment. Now, the investigation will be led by Swiss prosecutor Eric Courtier. He will have access to all files related to the case and be free to consult independent experts. Courtier is expected to deliver his findings within 2 months. Also, calls for an independent investigation have grown since the report became public that 23 Chinese swimmers failed dope test months before the Tokyo Olympics in 2021. But WADA accepted the findings of China that this was due to the substance contamination and no action was taken. China's 30-member swimming team won 6 medals at the Tokyo Games, including 3 golds. That's it in this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code up your screens to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.
The connection between the wellness of our planet and our own well-being is more direct than we tend to believe. Let's explore more ways of helping the nature and in turn helping ourselves.
So tigers are water babies. If the forest is degraded, you will not have perennial water bodies. As in, the streams will dry out and therefore you don't have tigers.
These are all valuable to our economy, but they aren't valued in our economy. Nature like this is being left out of the equation.
Litter on the street always infuriated Malarvari Muthu and her daughter-in-law Rajavalli Rajiv. They thought that people might not throw their garbage on the street if they could get money for it instead. And that's how the idea for the garbage bank was born.
यकीन है खुद पर है नाज। सुनती हूँ अपने मन की आवाज। कभी शर्मीली तो कभी हूँ जाबाज। रुकना मेरी आदत नहीं, थमना मेरी चाहत नहीं। मैं हूँ नारी, यही मेरा अंदाज। हर जिम्मेदारी मैं बखूबी निभाती हूँ। वोट दे, प्राउड वोटर कहलाऊंगी। पूरे देश संग चुनाव का पर्व मनाऊंगी।
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles, and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger, and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science, and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
India that invents. India that innovates. India that excites.
The connection between the wellness of our planet and our own well-being is more direct than we tend to believe. Let's explore more ways of helping the nature and in turn helping ourselves.
So tigers are water babies. If the forest is degraded, you will not have perennial water bodies, as in the streams will dry out and therefore you don't have tigers.
These are all valuable to our economy, but they aren't valued in our economy. Nature like this is being left out of the equation.
Litter on the street always infuriated Malarvari Muthu and her daughter-in-law Rajavalli Rajiv. They thought that people might not throw their garbage on the street if they could get money for it instead. And that's how the idea for the garbage bank was born.
Sikkim is not a destination, it's a journey. Into spirituality, into untouched nature. Into abundance. A lesson in compassion, perseverance, harmony, organic living. A fine example of respecting tradition. While embracing modernity. Welcome to a small state with big treasures.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.